Hey everyone, welcome to the Reboot. If you're new to the Reboot channel, my name is Peter. I'm going to be introducing this vehicle to the channel. It's a Tesla Model 3. I'm introducing this because it's my daily driver now for coming out here to the property, so it's got a link to the property, to this channel. And this whole notion of solar power, which I use to provide electricity to my equipment here at my red barn in my shop, is also a link to the channel. This is a fully electric vehicle. It is the way the motor industry, the car industry is headed as we look for alternative sources of energy to power things like our automobiles. So I think some of you would already have an interest in learning some more about electric vehicles if you're already not doing some of the research yourself. We decided to dive in, see if we can start making a transition from our internal combustion engine vehicles to the electric vehicles. We still have the Mazda, or I still have the Mazda CX-5. We're looking at possibly phasing that out over the next 6 to 12 months, working on that in terms of family needs, etc. And the purpose of this video is pretty much just to give you an overall intro to this vehicle and how I plan to use it in videos coming up. The front of the car, where you usually have a motor or an engine, is a trunk, but it's called a frunk, front of the car. Can fit quite a bit in there. That's a tow bar. Not sure I'll ever have really much of a need for that. And the only other thing that's important, up here you have access to the window washer cleaner. Mentioned, these are not the wheels that came with the car. These are winter tires and winter rims. What's important about these tires for electric vehicles is that these rims are literally made for electric vehicles, i.e. I believe it's some sort of titanium aluminum alloy. I don't know what it is exactly. They are extremely light. I could have gone with heavier rims. It would have literally decreased the range of the vehicle. So those are the winter rims and tires, but made for electric vehicles. You can see the EV there. There are several unique design elements to the Teslas. One of them, of course, being everything that you hear about the handles. You push in, you pull out. The window then goes down about 1.5 centimeters, and you're into the cabin. The Model 3 is a very sleek car. You can see from the lines here, it's quite aerodynamic. Designed that way, obviously, to maximize battery range, charge levels, etc. And the car itself is very clean inside. Just like the outside, very clean. Very economical in terms of design. Almost Spartan, you could say. And as we traverse the dash, the front dash area of the car and the steering wheel, the obvious major change with what most of us are used to is that there is no console panel in front of the steering wheel and directly in front of the driver. Everything is on this large computer screen at the center of the car. And I've taken it to what's called the quick control page. You can see it right there. And that gives you just quick adjustment and controls for mirrors, steering, window locks, etc. But everything concerning the car, almost everything, is controlled using this interface that you find here with the computer screen. You can open the frunk, open the trunk, take care of some other basics there. Shows that I'm sitting in the car. My tire pressure monitor is on all the time this time of year. It's the same way I managed my Mazda CX-5. I've ordered and mounted a set of tires, winter tires. That's the key thing here in Canada. I've mounted a set of winter tires that do not have the sensors for the pressure monitoring. So this error signal appears all the time. Nothing wrong with the car. When I put my summer tires back on, that will disappear. And quick view into the back of the car. Again, it's a small sedan, a split 60/40 with the back seat there going into the trunk. I'll show that a little bit later, but comfortable. And the range on this car, it's advertised as having a range of about 425 kilometers, which is quite good. But these ranges that you see for these, well, at least for the Tesla 3, the research that I've done on my car, is that it has a range of around 425 kilometers. Those ranges are done under a mixed set of driving conditions. For example, it involves city driving, it involves country roads, and it involves highway driving. So if you expect to jump on the highway, blast away at 120 kilometers an hour in Canada, or about 75 miles an hour equivalent in the US, and bang on for 4 hours down the highway, you're not going to get 425 kilometers in range. You're going to get your 425 kilometers in range if you probably average somewhere between, you know, I'm going to say 65 to 100 kilometers during a rather long driving session. So real world conditions that we've experienced so far, for example, in terms of range, is more in the, you know, I'm going to say we're getting about 300, upwards of 300 or close to 300, maybe 280 to 300 kilometers of range when we're doing mostly highway driving. So in terms of mindset, you know, a car like this really does require you to think differently about the way you're going to get around. Not so much in terms of the daily driving that you do, because 400 kilometer range for the typical driving that someone's going to do, getting to work, getting back from work. And I know there are a lot of people out there that don't have typical driving requirements for their work. I'm not talking about that set of individuals. I'm talking about the people that do 50 kilometers, 100 kilometers, even 200 kilometers a day. For me to come out here to the property, I'm doing a round trip of about 150 kilometers. But the point is, the range on this car meets the majority of people's needs out there in terms of their daily driving. So there's not so much of a mindset required there. The big mindset change happens when you take on a longer drive. When you head out on the highway and you want to go, for example, on a 4 or a 5 hour trip. A lot of people do a trip like that on a weekend. My wife and I, for example, will hop in the car and head down to the Burlington-Hamilton area to see her family. Okay, that's a 4.5 to 5 hour drive, depending how heavy your foot is. So with this car, the big mindset change is you have to stop and refill. You have to stop and use what's called a Tesla supercharger, which there are enough of them between here and Toronto. They're all over Canada now. You can go coast to coast using the Tesla supercharger station. There's a whole host of other chargers out there also that you can use with an adapter that comes with the vehicle. Finding a charging station isn't the issue. Running out of electricity is not the issue. The fact is that when you get to these stations, your so-called charge can take you anywhere from 10 minutes to 30 minutes, depending on how far you need to go and how long it takes for the supercharging station to actually get that electricity into your vehicle. So that's the mindset change. What we used to do was tank up, fill up the Mazda, jump in the car, race down the highway, and you're there in 4 hours and 45 minutes, and you've still got a little bit of gas in the tank. The situation with this car is you drive for 2.5, 3 hours, you need to hit that supercharge station, and you sit there for 20 minutes to half an hour, then you finish your trip. So what is a 4.5 hour trip becomes a 5 hour trip. That's the mindset that I'm talking about. Is it a huge change in your life? No. Is it inconvenience? Yes. But it's an inconvenience that my wife and I have decided that we're more than willing to take on and deal with as this transition starts to take place between electric vehicles and the type of vehicles most of us are driving right now. The big mindset change that you have to be able to deal with purchasing an electric vehicle for longer trips is this notion of stopping for 15, 20, 30 minutes to get that additional electric charge in your car and then completing your trip. For local driving needs, your daily driving needs, you know, if you're driving on average below 250 kilometers a day, these electric vehicles are going to meet your needs. All right, 250 kilometers a day and above, it starts to get a little challenging. And if you're having to spend 20 and 30 minutes during your daily commute on one of the legs to charge your vehicle, I could see how that would be a little bit taxing. So maybe an electric vehicle isn't for you at this time. But I want to show you more concerning this computer and this interface screen that you're dealing with in terms of the Tesla Model 3, because this is where everything happens. So right now, like I said earlier, I'm on this quick controls screen here, and quickly you have access to the mirrors, the steering wheel, More importantly, you have options to go to lights, locks, display, driving, autopilot function, navigation, which is essentially their version of Google Maps, or might even use and link into Google Maps, I'm not sure. Safety, security, service, software. All right, let's just dive in just to give you an example. For example, you click to lights, you get the different options in terms of how you want to deal with the lights. If you go to driving, for example, you've got options in terms of acceleration. We've gone with standard, steering mode, standard, stopping mode, on hold. Autopilot is a very interesting function. I'm getting used to it right now. And when I take you guys out on the road, I'll better explain that function and show you how that works. But it's not the full self-driving. We've not got that with this car. We did not want to purchase the full self-driving at this time. We've just decided to stick with the autopilot. So in addition to autopilot, you see these other four here, the navigation, safety, security. Down here, if you press that button, you can look at the things concerning the energy and how your consumption is going. And probably the one that I use more, and as well as I use it on my mobile, because that's the other thing. You're actually controlling your car from your phone, and I'll get to that in a minute. You know, you get this very interesting chart here concerning the level of charge for your car. Right now I'm at 49%, more than enough to get home today. If we tap that there, it gives me a range of about 206 kilometers. I don't call that real range kilometers. Again, if I was to drive home at around an average of 80 kilometers an hour, I'd probably get 200 kilometers in range, but I'll be out on the highway, I'll be on some rural highways, and so real world range is not 206 kilometers. Very important here in Canada, your heated seats, you've got your fans. What's very interesting here is through the touch screen you can actually direct, I don't know if you can see that there, you can direct where you want that flow to be going. You can set it to a schedule. You've also got something here, as you see, for a dog. So if you leave your dog in the car for a period of time, you actually set it to that mode, and it ensures that the cabin, I believe it's maintained somewhere between 17 and 20 degrees Celsius. Very comfortable, especially for a pet on a hot day. And no fear whatsoever concerning, you know, dog in a car on a hot day, but something that comes with your Tesla car. You have access to the web. You've got your radios here, your radio station here. I currently got the sound down. I'm currently tuned into NPR, so
things like this happen. Don't tell people.
A lot of discussion. You can see it up there, NPR. So again, basic introduction, everything that you need to do for the car to be managed through here, and very little on the steering wheel stock. You've got these two rollers that again connect into functions related that you pretty much organize through the computer screen there. To get out of the car, press that button. Again, door pops open, window slides down, door opens. You have to have an electric charge in the car for that to work. In the odd instance where you don't have a charge in the car, there is a manual release right there. We'll tap the screen here. Open the trunk. Let's head outside and have a quick look at the trunk. It's got that automatic trunk feature that I just showed you. I've got some tools and things in the back there. It's got quite a bit of space. So again, nothing special. Pop that button and down she goes. That is the Tesla. I wanted to introduce this to everybody. Like I said, this is my daily driver for coming out here to the property, to the Red Barn. You're gonna see this car a little bit more often as I learn about the car, use the car. All right, everybody, thank you for coming by to check out today's video. Look forward to seeing you at the next one.